Okay, today's Onward vlog is brought to you by Mohit, our
Hello.
Chief Operations Officer. Alright, so Mohit, tell us all about sharding. Can I do it out in public? Can I do it with a group of people? Where can I shard? Is it appropriate?
It's not how it works, man. Sharding is a concept that's been around for a few years now. Started out in databases, in traditional databases, to balance the load. So actually be able to access information without actually having too large a data set to go through, right? A traditional database is very robust. MongoDB came up with a solution that was how do we actually dissect the information and store it across different across horizontal shards or like slices of the database itself and access it in a way that is doable. And now what's happening in the blockchain space is sharding is potentially being thought about in the Ethereum ecosystem, but also in a couple other blockchain ecosystems to solve for scalability. And how they're thinking about this is obviously one, you have to have a proof of stake system for sharding to work, because inherently sharding divides up the underlying data that's stored into the different pieces of the shards, right? So you can't actually do it through a proof of work system, because inherently in a proof of work system, all data is replicated across the system, right? Across the blockchain. So in order for sharding to work, you still have to have a proof of stake system. So where Ethereum is at right now, as you guys know, or maybe you don't, but Ethereum is still very much a proof of work system, and it is potentially moving to a proof of stake system in the near to midterm future, right? So once that happens, is the only time that Ethereum can actually implement sharding. But there's a couple startups or chains out there that are implementing them. We'll post them up on our blog as well.
So I've got a question for you. Yeah. So you said that MongoDB implemented sharding, and I assume this was like way before 2018. What year did they implement sharding inside of their database?
I'm not actually aware what the actual year was. MongoDB's been around for a while. I haven't done any digging into the history, and so I'm actually reading about it now.
So, all right. So if we know that sharding's been implemented already inside of a database, are we just reinventing the wheel? Like, if this technology is already there, are we just trying to make it shiny and fancy to push the price of Ethereum up when like the stuff's been around for years? And if you want to implement sharding, why don't we just build applications using traditional backends?
So, I mean, MongoDB's sharding wasn't as successful. If you ask developers, I'm not a developer myself. I just understand some of the high level stuff. But developers weren't particularly happy with the way sharding was implemented in MongoDB. So it might not even be a good use case in the blockchain sense as well. But there's been some new databases that have implemented them that I was speaking to another developer and he was telling me about this thing called CockroachDB, which is this new database that's only founded in 2015, and they've done a relatively good job of implementing sharding. When it comes to whether it's just something being repurposed for the Ethereum use case, for example, it's an interesting solution, right? But again, what the problems that are going to come through because of sharding in Ethereum is going to be, one, you're already moving to a proof of stake system, so you're already moving from a fully decentralized to a relatively not decentralized system, right? Is the argument to be made. There's rumors that to be a validator node on the proof of stake Ethereum version, you'll have to have as much as 1,000 Ethereum, which at today's price will be over, which is a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. And not a lot of people have that money, and so that automatically implies that economic value directly relates to your ability to stake in an Ethereum mechanism. And once you apply the proof of stake and you apply sharding as a potential solution to scalability and transaction speed issues, if you can actually do that in a successful way, it's a potentially good use case, but it's yet to be determined, right? Like how they're actually going to do it. There's very little information that we have. I know there's a couple of the co-founders of Ethereum working on it pretty diligently. They've created some cool stuff before, so I'm interested to see what comes out of it. I'm not fully convinced of like what it might be, and maybe it's not the conventional sense of sharding as we know it in terms of traditional databases. Maybe it's something more innovative and new, but just nuances in terms of like how the data is sliced up. So it'll be interesting to see how it develops.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Mohit.
No problem.
All right, you have a wonderful day. This has been vlog 3 for Onward Labs. Thank you.
Cheers.